Aristocratic empires always fall, and that is why we need barbaric men for the future. Aristocracies always fail. This usually starts out as an invasion or an internal uprising or revolution or similar type of event to gain power over the resources of another group of humans. This is usually surrounding food, precious metals, human resources for slavery and military conscription, crops, livestock, things like that. That society then focuses to making life comfortable and convenient. This, of course, leads to complacency. Complacency leads to weakness. And this is when these civilizations typically crumble from within or are more vulnerable to external attacks. This is a cycle that is documented in modern history, and by modern history I mean post-Younger Dryas event flood about 13,000 years ago, that shows evidence of a 250-year run of course that has been researched and discussed by Peter Turchin in his book Secular Cycles. I'll put a link to that book in the description below if you're interested to learn more about that. But we see this evidence in most notably the Romans and the Greeks, but also the Mycenaeans, the Mayans, the Mesopotamians, the Han Dynasty in China, and so many more. But in this case, we're talking about the modern empire in the Western world, now known as America, because America is the new Rome. I'm not presenting this as a debatable philosophy or asking the question, because the writing is on the wall and the evidence is prevalent thanks to people like Turchin and his colleagues. American founders modeled its societal structure on Rome, right down to the architecture of buildings, the use of the eagle as the national bird, the use of Latin mottos and phrases, most notably on our currency, and the use of the fasces, the axe surrounded by rods, as a symbol of state power. The author of the Federalist Papers took his pseudonym from one of Rome's first consuls. And of course, the most glaring and obvious example is military prowess is at the center of the national identity of the United States. On a personal note, I find it hilarious that virtue signaling by liberals and progressives is attacked more than what I call veteran virtue signaling. I've got news for you. Serving as a government slave to carry out their agenda is not a virtue, and I'm saying that as a former government slave. I worked for the government, I did their bidding, and served their agenda. And that is not a virtue. As I've recently read in an article, I can quote it best by saying, "When you adopt a model in earnest, you grow to resemble it." So of course, America is following the same path and timeline as Rome. If you're interested more in this topic, I'm currently reading a book by Mike Duncan called The Storm Before the Storm, the beginning of the end of the Roman Republic, that chronicles the years of 146 to 78 BC and explores the abandoning by that generation of the ancient principles of their forebears that set the dangerous new precedents that would start the Republic on the road to destruction and provide a stark warning about what can happen to a civilization that has lost its way. I find many parallels to not only other societies that have gone down the same path, but specifically the current modern American empire. And I'm getting a lot of great information and perspective to contemplate on from this book. So I'll put a link in the description below as well for that. As I've sat and contemplated and researched this topic, I see one common denominator in this cycle, and that is the complicit men. Looking at the current landscape, men are consumers now who participate in voluntary servitude. They believe the lies about what is masculine. And instead of saying they, I'll say we, because for some portion of my life, I believed those lies as well. They're specifically marketed to us in the media, in movies, TV shows, advertisements, sports, and the worst of all of those, social media platforms, which is nothing more than a playground for mental illness. We're told that certain things are qualities of masculinity. Your grooming, your appearance, men's fashion, that certain alcohols we drink are masculine. Real men drink whiskey and beer. Real men drive trucks. We're told to chase job titles and financial worth, and that if you don't make more than $10,000 a month, that is not a sign of masculinity. That real men watch football or mixed martial arts. Real men vote a certain way. Or, even worse, seek an external path for their spirituality and their connection with nature in the form of weaponized religion. And I call out Christians and Muslims in specific are the biggest perpetrators of this. And yet none of these things, and a much longer list that I don't have time for in this video, none of those things make you more masculine. The reality is, men today don't know who they are anymore, and they don't even seem to be interested in knowing, which is very concerning. Men no longer have original, natural, primal virtues. And I'd like to explore the way I look at the definition of virtue very briefly, because I will be making separate videos to cover each of these virtues and how to revive and practice them for men that are interested in doing so. If we look at the definition of virtue, or virtus, it originally meant valor, masculinity, excellence, courage, character, and worth, all things that are perceived as masculine strengths. The beginning of the word virtue, vir, in Latin and in Greek, translates simply to man. So as of the making of this video, I currently believe in 9 traits that I consider to be actual, original, natural, primal virtues for men. They are honor, strength, courage, curiosity, creativity, prowess, connection, virility, and vitality. And with these virtues, the barbarians will rise again. History has proven that barbarians will rise when an aristocratic society falls, even if the barbarians are not responsible for it falling, such as an invasion or internal uprising. And the world needs true barbarism based on those 9 virtues now more than ever. Now, the word barbarian or barbarism is widely misunderstood and misused today. That word is not based in unjustified violence or a lack of intelligence like they want us to believe. Rather, it's a disinterest in superficiality, a disinterest in dishonesty, dishonor, weakness of the mind and body, and the disconnection that is pushed upon us from the things that we need to be healthy and successful, the connection to nature, the connection to other human beings, the things that give us an energetic zeal for life. What barbarism is a desire for simplicity, to live in natural ways, to do hard labor, physical labor, to have the freedom to create and explore life without impeding on others' ability to do the same. And I believe if this does not happen, if we are unable to revive these 9 virtues, and that if we stay on the current trajectory and pace that we're currently on of enacting modern societal values, I believe it's possible that humans are 2 generations away from extinction as a species on this planet. Be sure to share this video with anyone who you think would enjoy it, and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching.